this is the place where I could do the work that would matter the most to me, but also where I feel like my work matters the most to other people.
Stephen Henderson with a big announcement today. BridgeDetroit. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so this is a new news and engagement organization, nonprofit, independent, that we've built to try to focus specifically on the issues and challenges that Detroiters themselves identify as critical to their understanding of the city, of their neighborhoods, of their communities. It will be driven by that interaction with Detroiters, which we're setting up to be continuous and very deep, establish a real relationship, and build a newsroom and a news service around it.
So what are the platforms where people can start to see the work?
We've got a website, BridgeDetroit.com, that is up and running and has lots of content on it. You can also subscribe to Bridge Detroit through your email, and we'll send you updates each week. And we're building a network of partners that are going to help distribute the work as well. We really have focused on this being a collaborative effort. So WDET, Detroit Public Television, the Detroit Free Press, Outlier Media. There are more than a dozen media organizations who've already signed on. Also community organizations in the city, Eastside Community Network, Rise Detroit, Citizen Detroit. We're all kind of working together to make sure that we not only get this information from Detroiters about what they want, but push it back to them where they are.
Look, as journalists, we all sit around sometimes in a big room and we bemoan where this industry is going to go. And it seems now more than ever, you're seeing people engage with their local, hyper-local media because of the direct information that impacts them during a pandemic and the details that they need from it. How is this different from media models that we've seen in the past? And what are the challenges of a collaborative platform where you're putting it out in different places? It's not just the silos.
Yeah. Our model is going to mirror the business model that the Center for Michigan has set up for Bridge, Michigan, which is, we call it the three-legged stool. There is a significant investment up front from philanthropy, which is where we have gotten the money to start Bridge Detroit, a significant buy-in from the Knight Foundation and the Ford Foundation, and then every local foundation that we have here in Detroit has some piece of this. And then over time, we build out the other two legs. One is a membership model that looks a little like what you see at public television and public radio. People pledge to be members of the community and pay a little bit to have that membership. And then the third leg is sponsorships, corporate and other kinds of sponsorships. That model has emerged among nonprofit news organizations across the country as the one that's been the most stable for the last few years. Now, of course, this is all new. This is all really different from the way media has sustained itself for more than 200 years. And so we don't know yet how sustainable that is over time, or whether there's other legs we need to add to the stool, or whether one of the legs that we're building won't quite hold up. But we're optimistic so far at Bridge Detroit that we're going to get there. We have already got a lot of people signing up to be members. We've got a lot of philanthropic support and early corporate support. And then what makes this kind of different is, again, the collaborative model that's different is really another direction that nonprofit media has really headed in the last couple of years. We are better together than we are on our own, and nobody has the resources that they used to. We have more demand for our products and our services than we did before. We need to be able to work with other organizations to make sure that we're able to deliver the things that our readers and listeners and viewers all need.
I think what was significant about seeing your announcement was your diverse staff. And when you say you're going to be Bridge Detroit and you are covering the city, to be able to have reporters who are reflecting the people that they are covering is truly something that has to be a deliberate process. Talk a little bit about choosing staff and how you did it.
Yeah, so I mean, we said from the beginning that this needed to be for Detroiters by Detroiters, and by extension, that means reflecting the city's population, which is majority African American and Latinx. So we needed to make sure that the staff reflected that. When I started out, I didn't have a number in mind that I wanted to meet, so much as I said it needs to be reflective. But when we started advertising for the positions and seeing who came across the transom, we were overwhelmed by the number of really qualified and connected Detroiters who are African American or Latino who wanted to be part of this. And so we were able to put together a staff that is 100% reflective of that majority population in the city, which puts us in some rare company. There aren't newsrooms, not just here in Detroit, but across the country, that have been able to do that. It's something we're really proud that we were able to achieve right out of the gate. And I think it will serve us well as we try to build this relationship with Detroiters that is so key to the content here. Having people who have a connection and a relationship already with that majority population puts us out ahead.
Yeah, and you say relationship, developing a relationship with your audience. And that kind of, for me, begs the question of what are we missing when we're covering news or telling the story? What are you hearing from people that the news media is missing, that Bridge Detroit is going to be able to kind of fill a need?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's responsiveness. One of our key partners here is Outlier Media, which is a service news organization that uses a text-based service to talk consistently with Detroiters about what's going on in their lives and what they need help with. And Outlier is answering those questions very specifically for those Detroiters. That kind of relationship is not common at all among media organizations, and that's kind of where we start with Bridge Detroit. Is they're doing that in a very discreet community here in Detroit. We want to help grow that, and so and make that something that we're doing with people across the city. And when you do that, and when you hear about what's going on in people's lives, I think you come across a whole host of issues that we in newsrooms don't necessarily come into contact with all the time. We've been asking people about the pandemic, for instance, here in Detroit. We've come across incredible stories about the food insecurity that it has caused directly from Detroiters. We're hearing about the housing crisis that we had before the pandemic and how this has made it worse, how this has put pressure on small scale landlords who can't maintain their houses anymore because people are unable to pay rent. They're going to have to walk away from a lot of these houses. So now you're talking about more abandonment that will happen in the city, and you're talking about fewer choices for people who live here. These are stories we wouldn't hear if we weren't talking to Detroiters consistently about these things, because they don't reach those of us who exist outside of those communities and populate most of the newsrooms around town.
You excited?
Yeah, I am. I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous. I found myself with the jitters before the announcement, which is unlike me. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, that's funny, but this is totally different. This is something different out of the space that you've operated in quite a while. And it's being able to create and start something. And I think the expectation, and I don't know, just because we've been friends for a long time, it's a personal feeling of, I need to deliver on this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm seeing in you right now.
I absolutely feel that. And I feel that because I'm a Detroiter, right? I mean, I came home to Detroit 12 years ago because this is the place where I could do the work that would matter the most to me, but also where I feel like my work matters the most to other people. And this is a really bold expression of that. And so, yeah, for me, and I think for our audience and our members, there's a lot at stake, and so I think my body was telling me that was true as we were getting ready to announce it. But it is also about excitement. We've got a great team that we put together, an amazing team who are capable of things that every day I was not aware that they would necessarily be capable of, and they're coming up with ideas that aren't mine, but that are theirs to enhance this model. So it's a little bit of hurry up and let's get this going so that we can see how it works.
Yeah, it's going to be great to work with you, on behalf of Detroit Public Television, but really to see this work. And get to know and to understand some more of the true issues that are that people are facing and that they trust enough to share. Because I think that sometimes with the media, we can breeze in and breeze out. We're accused of it, and sometimes we're really guilty of it, or just hitting it off a press release or off of a scanner and painting the broad brush if that's the issue there. And so I think I'm really looking forward to seeing how this works and develops, and knowing the people that you have on staff. It's going to be great. Yeah,
we're really excited. And we've got it all started already. BridgeDetroit.com. You can be reading about what Detroiters say is important to them.
All right. So is this like your fourth job?
Fifth.
You know what I mean? Fifth? I mean, if I stopped counting, I mean, what else are you doing right now?
That's right.
That's good. Well, we'll keep track of you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Stephen.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels